everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Charlotte, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you the 4 books that I read in the month of September 2025. So in September, I did get my driver's license as well as my first job, so I did not have much time for reading with trying to fit in school on the side. For those of you who don't know, I do really enjoy my job. I'm working at a bookstore and I get a discount, which is super cool, but I really haven't had the time to film, so I really want to get back into filming maybe on the weekends or whenever I can squeeze it in, because I love making videos and just being a part of the book community and talking about books with you guys. So that being said, 4 books isn't really that bad, and I thought it was fine until I saw like everyone's 12 book wrap up, and I was like, I really do miss reading that much, but that's just not the stage of life that I'm in right now. So I am still excited to share with you the 4 books that I read. They're all pretty different, and let's just go ahead and get started. The first book that I finished in September was Beyond the Bright Sea. This one I was listening to on audio, so it took me quite a while, but I did enjoy it. I rated this a solid 4-star. I thought it was good and creative, and there were some really exciting scenes. Overall, I didn't feel like it was the most original plot line, but I felt like for what it was, the story was written really well, and I did enjoy it. At times I did feel like the writing and the whole style was a little bit dull, but I feel like that was kind of on purpose. But overall, I did enjoy it, and I think 4-star is a good rating for this. And this is a historical fiction that has some like very much mystery vibes, and there's like some treasure. It does not give your average historical fiction vibe. It just happens to take place in the past, and you don't really realize that while you're reading. You're following a girl named Crow who washed up on this island in New England as a baby and has been raised by this guy and then this lady that lives across the sandbar from her, and she suddenly starts wondering about her real family, which you kind of can see is a very popular story. But I felt like it was creative enough, and the direction that it went in was definitely not what I was expecting, which was really neat. There were some very exciting moments in here. There was like a villain and some treasure and probably a few frightening moments, so you might want to read my review of this if you are a younger reader. This was obviously middle grade. If you're okay with some scarier, more like murder mystery vibes, then I do still think you would enjoy this one. So overall, yes, it was a 4-star, but I did still enjoy it, and I think it was just a solid read, and I have this really cool copy that I found at the thrift store. So yeah, overall I'm glad I read it. I just don't think it's one of my new favorite books, just because there wasn't really anything that stood out to me in it. But if you are curious more about my thoughts or the content, make sure to go check out my reviews, which are always posted on Goodreads and Fable. Next we have The Fair Kind. This was a book that was sent to me to read and review, and I do have a pretty in-depth review on this that is really long. There was some content in this that made me uncomfortable, and I just wasn't a fan of the direction the story turned about halfway through the book. So for me, I did sadly have to rate this a 2.75, and I don't want to just be going on and on about what I didn't like, because I feel really bad that I didn't like it, and I could definitely see the idea that the author had for this, and I'm definitely not hating on the story or anything. It just wasn't a hit for me, which I totally understand, because some books are some people's favorites while others really dislike them, and I'm a very critical reader and reviewer, which I honestly don't like some of the times, because if I meet people that are like book talk readers, I always have things to complain about, and I do want to be more open-minded, but then again, that's just how I am, and that's just how I review books. I'm very critical with them, and I look for many different things. So again, this is nothing personal, or this is nothing against the book necessarily. This is just one that I really didn't enjoy personally, but I'm sure other people, this is their new favorite book. Again, if you are curious about this one, because it has a gorgeous cover, make sure to go check out my review on Goodreads and Fable, where I list out the content and really what it's about. It is a fantasy book, but halfway through the book, it takes on a just normal book, like in our world, which I kind of felt like was a little bit interesting, and it wasn't my favorite part of the story. I felt like it was creative. The Fair Kind, I did not realize they were meant to be like a version of fairies, which I thought was really cool, and I did enjoy when they kind of told you that detail. So yeah, overall, that is my review for this one, and I am glad I read it. It was super short, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for this one, because I don't want to be harsh about it, because I can be very harsh, critical, dramatic, whatever the right word is when it comes to reviewing. So yeah, this is The Fair Kind. Next we have Number the Stars. This was a book that I read for school, and it was one of those books that when I was reading it, I was like, I'm pretty sure I was supposed to read this when I was like 10 years old in like elementary school, but still, I did really enjoy it. It was extremely short. I read it in like a day or two. I could have read it in one sitting, but since it was for school, I was kind of letting myself take a while to read this. Now that I'm realizing that I'm talking about this, apparently I did not write my review on Goodreads or Fable because I got distracted. This is probably a solid 4-star. That's kind of what I can think of right now. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well written. I did have to write a whole book review on this for school, which I did enjoy writing, and kind of some things that I said in that was that I thought that the writing was good, and this was like a good introductory book to someone who hasn't read World War II fiction. So if you are new to the genre, this is perfect for you. And this is a bit of a spoiler, so you can fast forward like 10 seconds if you want, but unlike other books from World War II that have sad endings, this one actually had a happy ending, which I appreciated. I thought there wasn't much growth or depth to the characters, but that could just be because it was a middle grade, and I wish the title of the story, or the title of the story down here, would have been answered a bit more, because there was a whole scene where it was said and then we didn't really get a direct answer, but the outcome of the story kind of made sense from that. But I did enjoy the lush, evocative places that were written, where they were staying. They were very aesthetic, just to use that word, which I enjoyed reading about. It was like a farm by the ocean, which is like the perfect place for me. And I didn't really know much about Denmark going into this, so I'm really glad that I got to read about it, and I think I would actually like to visit that country at some point. So yeah, overall I did really enjoy this. It was a solid book, not a new favorite of mine, but again, it was really short. It's made for younger kids and I had to read it for school, so I am glad that I read it. It's just not going to be a new favorite, but it would be one that I recommend, especially if you're a middle grade reader, a younger reader, or anyone wanting to get into World War II fiction that is scared of it and all the things that it entails, or if it doesn't make sense. This one definitely made sense, and it was a really good book. Okay, last I decided to get in the fall mood, and I read Halloween Murder. I think that's how you would say it, but oh my gosh, this was so cute. This was such a fun read. This is a 4.5 star, and this one I do have a whole in-depth review on Goodreads and Fable, of course. This was so cute. So basically it follows our main character, Melanie. She is probably in her like 30s, I guess, which I usually read books about teens or kids, which I thought was really cool. So she is married and she has 2 kids, and she works at this kind of more like a private prep school, and she solves mysteries there, and the kind of like receptionist that she kind of knows there is framed for a murder, and she decides to help her investigate and solve this murder. And this all takes place around Halloween and the big Halloween party that the school is throwing for all the teachers and the kids. And this author writes very seasonal books with like dogs on the cover, because our main character Melanie loves dogs. She has like 5 dogs, I think, which is super fun. This was just such a cozy, sweet, and actually pretty well written book. I wasn't expecting much of it because it was only like 4 hours. I did listen to this one too, and I was kind of expecting it to be cheesy or have a lot of plot holes, but honestly I felt like it was really fun, really well written, and definitely a great clean read. If you like murder mystery or you want something seasonal, I would highly recommend this book to you. Again, if you want to know anything about the content, I have that all on Goodreads and Fable, but this was definitely my favorite book that I read this month, and hopefully I can get a copy of this to reread every fall, because it was a perfect atmospheric fall read that I really enjoyed. Okay, so those are all the books that I read in the month of September 2025. Like I said, my reading goal is probably not going to be met, but I'm really still trying. All that matters is that I'm still reading and I'm enjoying what I'm reading, and I'm reading a variety of books, which is honestly just my like life reading goal in general. So I am happy with the books that I read this month. Hopefully I can up the amount a little bit more in October, but we'll just see what happens with my life and all. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned, because I have my bookshelf tour video that might have already come out, actually, we'll see, and then I have a fall book recommendations video coming as well, which I'm so excited to film for you guys. You might have noticed a few fall decorations behind me already. So yeah, that's basically all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you somewhere else on the internet. Bye!